What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the new album from the band Obliteration entitled Black Death Horizon. This is released on Relapse Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Norway, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very filthy, dirty, old school style of death metal. Think, if you will, to stuff like maybe Obituary, older Morbid Angel, and older Autopsy. And you would have the sound that Obliteration are definitely going for. The first time I had ever heard of this band was, I want to say, maybe almost 4 or 5 years ago. I somehow managed to come across an issue of Revolver magazine, and they had an issue that was dedicated to bands that were young, up and coming, and on the rise. And one of the bands that happened to be mentioned in that article was Obliteration from Norway. And the album in question was their 2007 debut, Perpetual Decay. Now, I honestly thought that debut was awesome, but only then would it lead to what would later become the full-out evolvement of this band, moving forward to their second full-length entitled Necropsalms. That showed a change in sound, a change in vibe and atmosphere to create something incredibly harrowing and just straight-out filthy, old-school death metal. I mean, when you think about metal from Norway, more likely than anything, black metal is something that comes to mind. I mean, Immortal, Dark Throne, Mayhem, Burzum, all that type of stuff. But nothing really gets mentioned much as far as the death metal scene is concerned. And I think Norway has an incredible death metal scene, bands past and present. I mean, when I think of death metal from Norway, some of the first bands that come to mind for me are definitely Blood Red Throne, Zyklon, to even classic bands like Old Funeral, Molested, Eternus. Just some really, really amazing bands from that country. And it's been a couple of years since the last Obliteration full length. Of course, some of the members that were involved in Obliteration are involved in another amazing band called Necromanthean, and they put out one of the best black thrash releases of last year with Rise Vulcan Spectre. Just an incredible album. Now here we are with a brand new Obliteration full length entitled Black Death Horizon. Like the last album, it's only 7 tracks, but it clocks in at around 42 minutes in length. And honestly, as soon as you listen to this album, you're going to feel right at home with this album. If you have been familiarized with this band's past works, you really will have an idea of what to expect here. And you're going to get something that is incredibly devastatingly heavy, just a complete evolvement of their sound. And this is honestly the best thing that this band has put out yet, and I think it's amazing. I like how this album starts off with the track The Distant Sun, They Are the Key. For the first couple of minutes of this album, it starts off very slow, very brooding, very ominous. It just gets so heavy when it comes to the guitar riffs. But then, as things move along, the pace gets a little bit faster. And therefore, you have one of the key factors of this album is the incredible lengths of speed and detail when it comes to this album's pace. Everything flies by at a really, really smooth pace. Nothing gets too forced or too crammed down. It just feels appropriate. And the lengthy songs definitely get the job done. The shorter tracks are definitely awesome. But aside from songs, let's get right on into the music. The guitar work on here is just astounding. I absolutely love the way the guitar sounds on this album, just the way that it's played, the riffs, the frenziness, the solos. It all has an old school death metal vibe and feel. I think it's incredible. Going back to the opening track, The Distant Sun, I think it's fantastic. Goat Skull Crown, Sepulchral Rites, just some really, really top-notch guitar work. The riffs are just dizzying. The solos are just frantic. It almost brings you back to that old school Autopsy and Morbid Angel type of vibe going on. Early 80s kind of stuff. I think it's sensational. Um, the bass work on here is just sensational. I love this bass guitar tone. I think it sounds amazing. It is the perfect kind of tone for this kind of album. It's very loud, very clear, very crisp, extremely well played. I love the way the bass is on the track Ascendance, Soul Invictus. Just some amazing bass work going on. It's rumbling, it's loud, it's powerful, and it really, really gets the job done here. I'm really, really loving this bass guitar tone, and it is definitely the surprise highlight for me of this record. Um, Moving on to the drums, I think the drums are so hardworking and so natural sounding. I think they are played very, very well here. Just the blast beats, the fills, the quick little blasts, the cymbal blasts, the snare kick tone. I just think it's an incredible drum performance. The the way everything is mixed, the way everything is played, it just sounds fantastic. Going back to what I said about it having a very natural and warm kind of quality to it, it feels so authentic, and I love that about this drum performance. Never a dull moment to be heard on here. The slower moments, the mid-pace to fast moments, I think it's sensational. And moving on to the vocals are awesome and definitely something that sets themselves apart from any other kind of Norwegian death metal band. Very raspy, shrieky type of vocals. Just the emotion and power in this guy's vocal style, I think it's really, really incredible. The first couple of tracks, he definitely showcases his his vocal varieties. Moving to the second track on this album, I want to say there's some certain singing elements that are involved on here. Kind of reminds me of Covenant a little bit, God of Emptiness, with the kind of hymn-like singing. I think it's really, really incredible. Something very unexpected and definitely throws you for a loop, but I think it definitely works for this band's advantage, for this band's style, so to speak. And the vocals here are really, really awesome. So overall, if you're a fan of this band's past few full lengths, if you're a fan of old school death metal or Norwegian death metal, Obliteration are definitely a band to be on the lookout for. These guys are going to continue to get better and better from here, and I am very much looking forward to them having a great and successful future. If I'm not mistaken, they recently played the Wolf's Throne Festival. Wolf's Wolf's Throne. I forget what it's called, but they played a festival in France, Europe or whatever. And I think they did a really awesome job. Got to hear about that from some of my friends who went over there, and I'm pretty damn jealous of that. So overall, Obliteration are a great band, and they're definitely something you should keep your ears out for. Um, if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I definitely have to say The Distant Sun, Goat Skull Crown, Ascendance, Sepulchral Rites, and the closing track, Churning Magma, which is a 3-minute instrumental, but I think it's still amazing. So I'm going to leave you a link in the description box to the Bandcamp page for this album, where you can stream it in its entirety, hear it for yourself, be your own judge as to whether you feel it's deeming of purchasing a physical copy or not. It is available in most notable retailers. You can buy it directly from Relapse. They have it on CD and vinyl. Indie Recordings probably carries it too, so keep an eye out for it wherever you're able to see it. So again, the album is Black Death Horizon by Obliteration. This is released on Relapse Records in North America and Indie Recordings overseas. Check it out, and I'm going to give this a very strong 8.5 out of 10. This might change to a 9 later on. I think it's that damn awesome, so support Obliteration. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for joining my channel, and until the next time, RBO out.